Wynncraft's 2.0.3 update came out not too long ago, and it's actually amazing. We've got quest changes, we got class balances, we got the content book, we have a brand spanking new dungeon that is a redesign of an old dungeon, so rest in peace. We have a redesign of the chat for newer versions of Minecraft only. And we got a lot of bug fixes, but I don't care about any of that right now, because I care about one thing and one thing only today. Lootruns. Wynncraft has finally added something that I've been looking for so damn long. Endgame repeatability. Replayability? Endgame replayability. I'm a bit of a fan of gacha games. Thanks, Matt. And I've probably spent about $5 playing them in my few short years of being into them. But the only one that has ever convinced me on its own merits, rather than the IP it's connected to, is Honkai Star Rail. I promise this is relevant. Just stick with me. I've never played a Honkai game before, but I have played a few other gachas that are similar to it, like Genshin Impact, Pokemon Masters, DBZ Dokkan, My Hero the Strongest Hero, and My Hero Ultra Impact. But regardless, all of them have a problem of once you reach endgame, you have to give the player something to do that will not only keep them entertained, but also add variety to the game with some luck and strategy. And in my opinion, the one that does it the best is Star Rail. The simulated universe minigame is one of my favorite gameplay loops. Not only can you choose between a few different starting paths with the random buffs as you progress, but you can also gain a super ability based on that starting point. You collect any number of cards that are either a build you have planned or, my personal strategy, the build that you make up as you go along. AFK Arena has a really good example of this too with the Labyrinth. But while eventually you will see every card and buff and try out all the different builds and go down all the different paths, I can confidently say I won't get bored of that system anytime soon. And that brings us finally to 2.0.3 and its reworked loot run system. Client-side chests, cave diving reworks, fun challenges in some caves, a lore-integrated loot running company, loot running levels to add a progression system, loot run camps where the real magic happens, and new loot run music? Honestly, it feels like Christmas the more and more I think about it. But what all that adds to Wynncraft is a lot more than the sum of its parts. Replayability and endgame progression. That's not to say Wynncraft doesn't already have these things. It very much does. Between raids, corrupted dungeons, legendary island, and crafting, there's a lot to do. But the problem with all of those systems is that they don't hold a lot of replayability, minus crafting, or they can take up way too much of your time. I'm talking about the crafting. I also want to mention that I'm coming at this whole problem with my perspective as a somewhat serious/casual player of the game. I love to progress through with fun and to throw myself a few somewhat serious challenges, but not ones that are like super crazy and ridiculous like old loot running. I want to have fun. I want to have fun while I'm playing, and while raids are really fun, I have a great time playing them and doing them, they do get really monotonous after a time, and the only reason I really find them fun, even Gregana Ifany, who hasn't even been out that long, is because of the people I play them with. They're just a fun group of people to play games with. Corrupted dungeons are the same thing for me. They're not really my jam, and while fun in a group, they're just the same thing over and over again. Legendary Island's the same way. While fun, it's just the same thing over and over again. Like this line that I'm repeating. It's gonna get really monotonous and boring if I just keep saying the same thing over and over again. But you've watched this far, so leave a like. Loot runs, though, well, they change up the formula. Not only are there many different beacons that spawn with their own effects, but there's a lot of push and pull with the strategy from them. For example, there's beacons that give you buffs to make runs easier and to keep up with the scaling. There's another beacon that allows you to get more rewards at the end, but at a cost of a curse that makes enemies stronger. There's another beacon that allows you to have choices between more beacons. There's another beacon that changes the effect of the next chosen beacon. There's another beacon that allows you to spend more time. There's quite a lot of different things that you can choose between. But when you finally choose your beacon and go off into the distance in the wide sunset, there's a plethora of challenges you have to complete in order to continue and get your reward. Like spelunking. In spelunking, you just have to finish the cave and loot the cave's chest. Or you could fight several waves of enemies that you have to completely annihilate. Or perhaps you just want to defend an objective from enemies. There's just a lot of variety. And because they spawn randomly, you never really get the same choices in a row, except when there's a yellow beacon. That choice is always the same. You refuse and walk away kindly. All me and my homies hate yellow beacons. What I'm trying to say is, there's a lot of variety, there's a lot of strategy, and there's just a hell of a lot of fun built into this system. It's probably one of the best additions to Wynncraft in my opinion. It's a lot like what the universe simulator does in Star Rail, and I think this system does it better. The challenges are varied enough that I could probably play all day and not get bored because it's just too much fun. And I'm gonna keep repeating that it's so much fun because it is so much fun. Did I mention that it's really fun? Because it's a game that I'm looking to enjoy and do small stupid challenges with myself, like equip 3 crafted items and kind of keep up with a schedule. I promise I'm getting better. Obviously, I haven't progressed all the way to the final level of my spelunking mastery, and I haven't seen every single challenge, nor have I seen every single beacon. But I have gotten quite far. Not that far, but far enough that I feel like I can confidently say that there is a lot of potential in this system to stay my consistent reason to keep coming back. I'm going to go off script because I have a different ending that I wrote. I will put it in the description if you're curious what I wanted to end this off on. But if you're bored with Wynncraft, if you feel like you're getting into the samey situation and you keep trying to play it because you want to play it like I have, but there's just something that's just not quite right, or maybe the 2.0 update left you too overwhelmed, or maybe you tried crafting and you realized how that system could use a little bit of work, but it's still kind of fun in its own way. If you're struggling with Wynncraft, right now is the best time to try it again. If you have a max level class or near max level class, there's infinite fun ahead of you. If you're a low level class, they changed the beginning quest. They added new ones. They removed monotonous ones, and they changed some of the classes if you want to look for a little bit more change in your life. I think this update, more so than 2.0, is the most important update for Wynncraft. Because not only did it save the endgame for me, I feel like it saved the longevity of endgame for Wynncraft. Truly, you brought this burnt out prick back. I just need to complete Sea Skipper Part 2 and 3 now. And also Season 2 of Wynncraft. And maybe a few other projects that I'm trying to do for Wynncraft. But while I don't agree with everything that happens, I don't agree with every single change that you guys do, I still appreciate all the work that you guys put in. And I know this is kind of turning into the ending where I'm just throwing appreciation towards the team that I throw probably the most appreciation to, bar Naughty Dog and Outer Wilds. But you guys do phenomenal work, and I can't wait to spend thousands of hours in it. It's only just beginning for me. What about you? I can't really go that far. The wall's like literally right there. So just pretend I went away.